Congratulations, Mr. Jacob. That was quite an interesting document. And you're right, Mr. Mehta is right, that you did say the obvious, but it needs to be said and resaid. Couple of things. I'm not a journalist by profession. I'm a researcher. And in the last 25 years at CMS, we've been studying media, looking at its content, its ownership patterns, its impact in the setting, and what role it has played. And it has been quite an interesting wave that we've been riding, I would say, as an quote-unquote outsider, even though I have a column and I write. So I don't consider myself a journalist. Not because I'm not proud of it, but just because I want to be as objective as possible as a researcher. So with that viewpoint, let me just say the obvious, that every day we have a new news channel. I'm from Hyderabad, and you can sell a house in Jubilee Hills and set up a new channel. It's that easy, and it's as fashionable as the next Bing housewife in a party will say, I have 10 channels, I have 2 channels. And it's that fashionable to open channels, not just in Delhi, but in everywhere else. And the interesting fact is none of the channels are making money, except the top few who may be basically breaking even. None of them make money, so why do they exist? And that's a question I think we should be asking when we talk the issue of credibility, and that's very important for me. So the second point that I wanted to make, as said in Mr. Jacob's film, is that I think as somebody who's studying the society, all the pillars are crumbling, not just the media. We need to really look at it from the context. This pillar is not separate from other pillars. Unfortunately, our democracy at a stage, I'm not being pessimistic. I'm just being practical. And you can see it. The institutions are crumbling. The credibility is also crumbling along with that. But it doesn't mean that it's going down. It just means that we are reinventing. We're going to the next phase of discovering where and what we want from this society and who's playing what role. That's the remolding that is happening. As I say that, I also say that the news media per se, how it's produced and it's consumed by each one of us. This little girl will consume news totally different from how I am doing today. And so you need to know how the production will happen, and the young journalists are sitting right here, and there are elderly journalists here. How they produce news is completely changing, and that's a good part of being in this quote-unquote business. I wanted to reflect on the self-regulation part of it, which Mr. Jacob talked about. There was a committee set up about 6 years ago in the ministry looking at the content guidelines for broadcasting, and fortunately I was part of that, representing civil society. And it was a fascinating journey to understand what dimensions and what forces run to control both political and corporate on trying not to have any kind of regulation. So, and I'm not in favor of regulation, completely not, but I certainly think both the good and the bad need to be acknowledged. And that's very important. Our governance deficit today is because people can get away with anything. So if there is a channel which can get away with this, you can just imagine what is the scenario at the state, district, and even younger, at the stringer level. This is happening at that level, and we're not even talking about it. Mr. Jacob did not talk about any of the regional language media, which is an amazing, scary scenario altogether. So the concept that after debating and looking at the worldwide approaches is the concept of co-regulation. Yes, we have regulation at 3 levels. Yes, we do it at the media level, at our own, regulating ourselves, whatever concepts that we have. And as Madhuji said, that you can penalize themselves just completing, but also at the peer level, at the self-regulation. And then the third, we have to have a backbone which can penalize the rogues. And that's not happening, and I think that's desperate. And finally, I just wanted to make a point. We're not thinking about media schools and teaching media ethics at all in the schools, and that's lacking drastically. Thank you.